Hello everyone, this is my review of Deadpool 2. I'm Johnny Massacre and welcome to my channel. Excuse the weird audio noise, that little buzz, but I'm sorry, I've tried to set up a live stream and fuck streaming. Fuck live streaming because it's too fucking difficult. I've spent thousands of dollars and countless hours, and don't you fucking trolls tell me that it's easy to stream, because it fucking isn't. There's like a mic delay, and when you sort that out, the frame rate's always changing. You have to, it's just a complete fucking nightmare. So fuck it, I'm just gonna record with this noise. Right, Deadpool 2, let's get on with it. So here we fucking go. Opening scene of Deadpool 2 is fucking good. He's smoking a cigarette and his mask is half pulled up and you see his horrible scarred face. And that made me realise that we feel sorry for Deadpool. And that's one of the reasons why we love him so much, because we feel sorry for him. And then I started questioning, hang on, do all the great superheroes we like, do we feel sorry for? And you know what? I think we fucking do. Batman fell down a well, got raped by bats, and his parents got shot. So we obviously feel sorry for Batman, unless you're a sociopath like myself. But even I feel sorry for Batman. But after that developmental scene in all the original Batman movies and reboots where you see his parents get killed, we kind of forget about it. But I think subconsciously we always feel a little bit sorry for him. Same with Spider-Man, he's bullied in school, so we feel sorry for him. But like I said, after those initial scenes in the movies where they illustrate that you should feel sorry for the characters, you don't really see it again, but I think it's embedded in your subconscious. However, Deadpool, it's a very overt theme. You always feel sorry for him because he always looks fucked up. No one wants to have a scarred face like some London acid attack, do they? So that's kind of interesting. And I think it really works because Deadpool never plays the victim. He never says, poor me, poor me. And people like that are people who deserve sympathy. Unlike the victim narrative that is really taking hold right now in the liberal left-controlled Hollywood. So fuck all that. Deadpool gets it right. Now, this movie, it kind of works because they crank up the ridiculousness to 11. I think this really is the way forward for comic book movies, because if the writers sit on the fence and they try to justify the ridiculousness of the film by making tongue-in-cheek, light-hearted jokes like Avengers, the movie comes across as disappointing. It's too pussy to jump on one side of the fence. It's either going to be serious, it's either going to make fun of itself. No, it just kind of makes fun of itself sometimes. And that's really annoying, because when the movie has serious parts, you feel that contrast and it doesn't really work thematically. But Deadpool just makes it so fucking ridiculous that you can pretty much accept everything that you're seeing. I hate it when people go, hey, you didn't like that movie? For example, Avengers. Hey, well, you know what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to think it's like a work of fucking Shakespeare. Well, that's fucking bollocks, because, okay, so someone gives you a cake and it tastes not very good. But then they say, hey, but look, it wasn't supposed to taste very good. You know, I don't have a lot of training. Okay, now I enjoy it. That is a very sad indictment of people's dulled taste buds, which have been dulled by sickly sweet, overly done, saturated Hollywood culture. In that people are now just have such poor expectations of films that when it's crappy, they excuse it by being used to the crappiness and saying, well, it's supposed to be crappy. Fuck that. If it's crappy, it's crappy. And Deadpool, it kind of takes that principle to such extremes that it actually kind of works, because it's not crappy, but it's not supposed to be this Shakespeare. But whereas Avengers kind of fancies itself as Shakespeare but puts in a few shitty jokes to try to excuse the ridiculousness of it, Deadpool just holds up its hand and said, look mate, this is not fucking Shakespeare, but we're still going to do our best. And that's basically why it works, because they're honest about it. And they're so honest about the movie, it's really interesting. They kind of break down a lot of barriers in the first 30 minutes. For example, when it opens up, they say something, Deadpool says to the camera, he says something along the lines of, well, you know, every superhero movie or movie like this, the hero has to suffer an extreme loss and then he loses his girlfriend. So it's really weird. They don't even give you a hint of what's to come. They just tell you exactly what's going to come. And therefore, you can't really fill in the blanks. You don't quite know where the movie's going to go because it's laid itself so bare. Everything that you think you might be able to predict it's already told you before you've even predicted it. And that kind of gives the movie a clean slate. It's almost like Inception. You have your expectations of what's going to happen, but then they blow those expectations away by telling you everything that's in the movie. And then you're on this other level where you already kind of know what's going on, but now new things are happening in the story and you're not quite sure where it's going. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this comment either, but I think you kind of get what I'm talking about. So the movie continues. Now, Deadpool's bird gets murdered, and a bit before that, he blows himself up on these oil drums, and then he explains why he's blown himself up on oil drums, and it's something to do with the fact that he did a bust and he wanted to kill these people, and it kind of didn't go that well, and the bad guy got away, and that bad guy murdered his bird, and then the bird, they were going to have kids, she was pregnant, and the bird says something about, you've got to come close to losing everything to feel like you've got something or win something or something like that. So he's like, fuck it, and blows himself up on these barrels, and he falls into little pieces and shit. I think Colossus, the X-Man, comes to rescue him and takes his body to the X-Men's home, the X-Men's mansion, Xavier's mansion, or whatever you call it. And then he joins the X-Men, and the X-Men are called out. He's a trainee X-Man, and there's this fat kid who can make fire appear from his hands, and he's part of some weird boarding school, and I think the headmaster and his cronies have been abusing him. So the kid is, of course, he's only known violence his whole life, and now he's trying to fix the violence by being violent against his captors. So he's about to kill them, and Deadpool has this newfound moral standing because his bird has died, and he's now thinking about the kid that he could have had and what his wife said about you need to lose everything, blah blah blah. And so he's looking to fill that void in his life, and he seems as if he's going to fill it with this kid by taking him under his wing and being selfless, because he did want to have a kid himself. So it all goes horribly wrong, and Deadpool reverts to character and executes his captors before even a trial, which I thought was really cool. And going back to what I said about this movie being the future of superhero movies by being really ridiculous, it's also the future of superhero movies because not only is it so ridiculous that you can accept the weird things that are going on and the ridiculousness of the costumes and stuff, but also it's so ultra violent, and that's how the comic books were. These X-Men used to beat their shit out of each other, and there's nothing more we want to see as adults than adult entertainment, and that is hack and slash, bullets, gore, blood. That's cool, that's what we like, and that's what happens. So Deadpool executes this kid's captors and blows them away, reverts the time. I kind of like that. And then they end up in jail, this high security jail, and they have to get out, and this is where Cable, the main new character, comes into the movie. And he's basically the antagonist. Cable is one of the coolest comic book characters I've ever seen in a movie. And this is the thing, going back again to this movie being totally ridiculous, which turned up to 11, which makes you forgive some of its shortcomings brought about by its silly comic book origins. Having said that, there are some points where you kind of long for a bit of seriousness, because Cable is a good foil to Deadpool. Deadpool is very ridiculous and Cable is deadpan serious, and so they both emphasize each other's characters and play off each other with this interesting psychological symbiosis. However, in spite of that, Cable's so cool, you really don't want the seriousness to be broken by silly jokes when he's around, because you could make a whole movie just about Cable and it would be dead serious and it would be awesome. But, you know, Deadpool, the formula's working, so I'm not going to criticize it too much for that. It is what it is, and I think Cable deserves his own serious movie after this. Why do I love Cable? I love the older male badass characters who are ripped, because I don't know why. I think they're kind of rare, you know. People who are ripped are usually young because they have a high metabolism, and you know, when people are young, they just look better. And you very rarely see older graying men who have an amazing athletic physique in a movie. And the ones that do, because they're so rare, they really embody this whole other character, this mysterious character that can only be played by a certain type of badass. There's any number of young strapping guys that can take the lead role, but when it comes to some older athletic guy, there's hardly any. And so if you are older and athletic and still look like a superhero, you can play that superhero character, but with a bit more wisdom, experience, and cynicism. And that's what Cable is. And he looks so fucking cool, man. He looks like such a badass. Great costume, great utilities, great weapons. The special effects on him are fucking next level. Half of his body is cybernetic and it goes into his arm. It looks real. And he's got this wicked shield that comes out of his arm that he deflects bullets with. He was never the most popular character in the comics. He was quite cult because he never had a really obvious superpower. I'm not sure if he even does have one. But then again, those characters are often the most interesting. The ones without superpowers are the ones we can relate to because we could do it too, right? Like Batman, for example. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is Cable is just the fucking business. In contrast to Colossus and Juggernaut, who comes later in the movie. Colossus, the CGI just looks fake. Look, we need to start going back to movies like Aliens and Blade Runner, where they use real things in the movie. If it's not real, it doesn't look real, and it won't for another 10, 20, who knows, 30 years or maybe ever, because the naked eye cannot be fooled, especially when it's something as familiar as a human torso moving around. When it's covered in CGI metal, it just looks fake. Why didn't they just paint him or put something on him like a suit to make him look like a real Colossus? That could have definitely been done, and I promise you it would have looked better and real. Look at movies like Blade Runner with the cars when they're flying around. It's a real car. Look at Back to the Future with the hoverboard, the real hoverboard. It looks real because it's really there, and you really need that. And the CGI Colossus didn't look good. In contrast to Cable, when it was human and a little bit of CGI, which looked really, really good. So Cable's the fucking man, basically. I love that character. Excellent. Really well played as well. So Cable comes and he's trying to kill this kid in prison. Now Deadpool and the kid can't use their powers because they've got this weird collar on that takes away their powers that was put on by the authorities. Now Cable's trying to kill this kid, and then Deadpool starts finding his sense of morals. He knows it's wrong for a kid to be killed, and he's trying to save the kid. Cable blows him out there. There's a really nice fight scene. The kid is pretty annoying, but all good. And so he nearly kills the kid, but then basically Deadpool gets his collar off, gets his powers back, and saves the day. And the kid gets away. Then it's Cable versus Deadpool, and Cable fucks him up, breaks his arms, kicks his ass, and that's that for that scene. Then the plot of the movie is as follows. Deadpool, he creates a team to find this kid and save this kid. The kid is being pursued by Cable, so Deadpool has to rescue the kid, find the kid before Cable gets to him. That's it. Great little storyline, simple. And Deadpool gets this team together of superheroes, which is pretty amusing. They are very unlikely heroes, very random. And the last one is this guy called Peter, I think, just a regular guy who signed up. There's a really good montage where it's Deadpool and his sidekick, the guy with the glasses. I can't remember his fucking name. Only nerds will. I'm sure some of the nerds will comment in the comment section and let me know and correct me sternly. Go ahead. So Deadpool and his sidekick guy with the glasses are interviewing candidates for their superhero team so they can rescue this kid. It's a great montage. So all the candidates keep coming, and then the shot jump cuts from the candidate to the interviewees, and it's ludicrous. They pretty much all get hired, and Peter is just a regular guy who came in for the interview. So it's a ridiculous scene. The best new character introduced was, I can't remember what her name is. She's really lucky. Is she called Luck or Lucky? She's this lucky woman, and she is so fucking hot. She is so fucking good. She's one of the most gorgeous women I've ever fucking seen, and I'm happy she's in the movie. So they go to rescue this kid, and they all parachute out of this plane, and they all die during the parachute, which is funny because they introduced all these characters, and just as quickly as they were introduced, they were killed off. Apart from the hot chick, Peter survives for a bit, but he also gets killed. So that was pretty amusing. And then Cable encounters them, and there's this massive battle where Cable is the kid that they're trying to rescue is in this reinforced truck. There's always reinforced trucks in superhero movies. There's one in fucking Spider-Man Homecoming transporting some weapons, like alien weapons, which is the crux of the film's plot. There's one in Batman where they're transporting Two-Face or somebody, and in the second Batman, The Dark Knight. And there's one in this where all the prisoners are in this reinforced armored truck, and Cable breaks in, and the lucky woman breaks in before Deadpool does, and eventually Deadpool gets there, and it's a big battle, and you get to see more of Cable. It's just fucking awesome. I love Cable. And there's a really cool battle scene, and the kid gets away some fucking how. Honestly, I can't even remember, but he gets away, and he's intent on oh, I know how he fucking gets out, because in the prison there's this big badass somewhere that you never see, and we all know it's Juggernaut from the X-Men comics, and he gives Juggernaut some food. One charitable act is worth 1,000 the other way, and so Juggernaut basically breaks out of this armored truck and fucking rapes everyone. He rips Deadpool in half, and that's why I'm saying, well, this is the future of comics, because at least you've got to have it ultra violent like that, so they can rip people in half. Because that's what he did in the comics. Wolverine got ripped in half by Hulk, and he had his adamantium skeleton removed by Magneto through his skin. So the ultra violence is cool, and so Juggernaut gets away with the kid, the fat flamey kid, and they're going to go back and kill the teacher. Then I think they go back to the X-Men's mansion and Cable or somewhere, and then Cable pitches up in the shadows and he said, "Look, I want to make a truce. Because you cunts release Juggernaut, he's too strong for me to stop alone." Which means he's a serious fucking psycho. We all knew Juggernaut was the man. Great to see him in this movie, another new character. And so they decide to team up, but on the condition that when they find the kid, Deadpool gets some time with the kid to try to persuade him not to do what Cable thinks he's going to do. And then Cable reveals why he's pursuing the kid, and it's because in the future his family dies, much in the same way that Deadpool's family, or his wife, and his kid's family to be died, because this kid in the future, it becomes a supervillain and kills everyone. And he becomes a supervillain because of what he's about to do, where he goes back to school and he kills his captors, and then he gets a taste for killing, and he does it again and again and becomes a supervillain. And so Deadpool says, "Look, just give me 30 seconds before you kill him to try to turn him to the good side. I believe I can." So they go to school. Juggernaut's there. They have a fight with Juggernaut. It's pretty awesome. CGI Juggernaut, pretty shit. Again, when you're trying to animate a humanoid character as CGI, it never really ends up looking that great. But it's not terrible. It's all right. And they get the kid in the end. And the ending was really fucking good until they retconned it. So Deadpool, he's trying to convince him. Cable actually kind of keeps his word, which is pretty cool, because he does seem like a bit of a man of honor in spite of his hardcore ways. So Deadpool gets some time with him, but then the kid is losing his fucking mind, and then the kid's like, "Fuck you, Deadpool," when you think Deadpool convinced him to turn to the light side, and he fucks over Deadpool, and then Cable's getting ready to kill the kid, and there's all this, he kind of slides as if he's playing baseball through the dirt, and the dirt's spraying, it's all in slow motion. He gets a gun and he shoots at the kid, which reminds me of a scene earlier I forgot to mention, where he's fighting, and he flicks some dirt up in the guy's face and fucking blows him away. It's so cool, and they start fucking around with the dirt in slow motion, the particles moving so slowly. And so Cable shoots at the kid, then Deadpool jumps in front of the bullet, and Deadpool dies for the kid. And the reason this happened was he wanted to prove himself to the kid in an extreme way, so he put the collar on, and he said, "Look, if you're going to kill anyone, don't kill your headmaster, kill me," because he thought the kid wouldn't have the balls to do it. The kid does go to kill Deadpool, regardless. And I think that's when Cable shoots the bullet, and then Deadpool jumps in front of him and dies. And that convinces the kid not to go into a life of crime and become a supervillain. And Cable carries around this teddy bear for some reason. I think it must be in the comics, and it's because it belonged to his family that was killed by the kid in the future. And the teddy bear restores from being charred to a normal teddy bear, which means the kid didn't become a bad guy. And that was a great way to end the movie. Deadpool was kind of crazy. We had 2 movies. We'd have some nice closure. Let's end it on a tragic note. You'll never forget that. But Cable only gets 2 attempts at his time machine because it's hard to get that shit working. So he uses it to go back to the future. But what he really does is he goes back in time and he shoots this lead coin that was given to Deadpool by his dead wife because he knew he had it or something. And this time he shoots, because he's a wicked shot, Cable shoots the coin and Deadpool survives. But that was still enough to freak the kid out to realise the kid was nearly killed, or someone nearly died because of him, which changes him to a life without crime. So that happens at the end. So Deadpool doesn't really die, and then he uses the time machine himself, which I don't get. I wasn't paying attention, but apparently you can't use the time machine because only twice. But anyways, Deadpool can. So Deadpool goes back and retcons loads of stuff. I think he brings his wife back to life. And come on, guys, let's have a few deaths in the movie. So anyways, all that suspense and tragedy was retcon. So everyone's still alive, guys. I wasn't too cool with that. But fuck it. Who cares? The movie was pretty good. So that's pretty much it. Now, what do I think about the movie? I thought the action scenes were really cool. I thought the CGI on Cable was next level. I loved that. I wanted to see more of Cable. I thought the story was pretty good. The way it started off was cool. They used a lot of great lighting and color effects, a lot of neon dystopian future kind of effects, kanji and Asian symbols and stuff. That was really nice. And the humor was good. There were some really funny points in the movie. There was one point where when he got ripped in half by Juggernaut, he was regrowing his legs, and they CGI'd some baby legs on and a baby cock. That was, and the other characters were going, "Wow, this is disturbing." So, okay, at least they intended it that way. But that was a little fucking creepy, and there was a lot of on the nose, like pedophile jokes and stuff. Like the guy's the kid. He keeps like a shank up his ass, and Deadpool's like talking about that and stuff. And there's a few other things as well, and I just thought that's fucking gross. But the rest of the humor was pretty good. It's pretty funny. I did laugh at a few moments, and the new characters were really good. I want to see some of the other X-Men come into Deadpool. Why not? There's this history of the Wolverine and stuff. Why not bring them in? So the story was easy to follow, and it kind of kept you guessing a little bit, especially because they kind of told you what was going to happen. And like I said earlier, and one thing I forgot to tell you was Deadpool says, yeah, I'm going to die in this movie. The hero always dies in the second one or whatever, and he said, I'm going to die in this movie. So when it's all laid bare in the beginning, you are thinking, well, what's really going to happen? So it did keep you guessing with this. It was telling so many truths and honesties, apparent honesties, that you weren't quite sure which was which and how it would pan out. And I like that. Some of the CGI, as I said, Juggernaut and Colossus wasn't amazing. But yeah, the new character, the Lucky Woman, was awesome. So overall, it was a very entertaining. And one thing I really want to talk about is the political side of this movie. It's fucking fascinating. Now, I swear down, this movie was written by conservatives. It was fucking interesting because there was a lot of anti-SJW stuff in this, and that's what I took from it. And it is, believe me, it is. So I remembered what these are. So listen to this. So Deadpool is forming this team, and they said to call it something or whatever, and he says no, or X-Men or something, and they say no, let's call it X-Force. Let's make it gender neutral, which was pretty interesting. And that's just showing you how stupid it is to sacrifice creativity for political correctness. And that's when you look at a lot of artists, for example, rap stars at the moment, they're all like pro-Hillary and like get on one knee for Colin Wankernick, whatever his name is, and they change their lyrics to make it politically correct. And I wonder why their sales are going down, and I wonder why they're fucking boring, because no one wants some politically correct censored bollocks. And Deadpool is making fun of that here, which was excellent. And then another point, he says, your crime, cultural appropriation, which just look fucking stupid. And it's showing you how ridiculous the concept of cultural appropriation is. Cultural appropriation is, by the way, the most awesome thing ever. Mixing of cultures. It's why we have good stuff and interesting stuff. And then there's a character called Black Tom, and he's white, and they kill him. And Deadpool goes, that's racist. And it's a parody of how liberals are offended by everything, literally everything. It's fucking stupid. And they're actually looking to be offended. They bait everything because they want to be offended so that they can use those people as a scapegoat to push their stupid agenda, which is covered by a very transparent veneer of virtuousness. It's quite interesting, quite on the nose. I forgot to mention the taxi driver. The taxi driver who drives Deadpool around everywhere. He's a great character. He wants to become a superhero, and there's a lot of funny jokes with him. Deadpool calls him Brown Panther. So it's kind of, that's poking fun at liberals because they get really, really touchy if you make a race joke about black people, white people, Asian people, whatever. So the movie's kind of playing with them a little bit. I was surprised that even made it into the movie, but it was cool because, he is brown and he called him Brown Panther. And then towards the end of the movie, going back to the X-Force thing again, she says X-Men. He goes, no, X-People. He's X-People. That is a rip on Justin Trudeau, who said, some woman in the audience said mankind. He goes, no, we say people kind, which isn't even a word, and mankind comes from the word human. And Justin Trudeau is a complete fucking fuckhead cock, and we all know that, who's basically destroyed Canada. And I have a bad attention span, but there's a lot of other Canadian stuff in this film where they rip on Canada. So I guess some of the writers might be Canadian or feel some sort of way about Justin Trudeau or have links in that way. And so yeah, that was interesting. He said X-People, which, again, you can see how stupid that sounds. So, now, the movie was really, really clever in the way it took the piss out of this kind of liberal ideology. Because it didn't outright say it was wrong. It didn't say, hey, a character didn't come in and say, hey, it's stupid to say X people, just say what it is. A liberal film would have done that. They would have spelled it out with their colourful crayons for the audience which they think are retarded like children. But not this film. It doesn't have to do that. It was much more clever than that. So what they did, they just do exactly what the left do and let it sit on its own ridiculous pedestal. And then the audience can just make up their own minds. So instead of someone saying, let's call it X-Men, and he says, oh, let's call it X-People, or make it gender neutral, instead of someone going, that's fucking stupid, they just say it. And you can see how stupid it is for yourself. And I absolutely love that about the movie. And by doing that, it kind of gets under the studio executive's gaze, because it's not outright criticizing it, it's just putting it in the movie. If you're doing exactly what liberals do, you're not criticizing it. And so even if the executives who greenlight this movie and script kind of saw maybe that was coming, they can't really say anything against it, right? Fucking fascinating. It looks silly because it is. It was just brilliant. And that was my favourite part of the movie. And that's why Deadpool is the fucking business, because it's not infected by the liberal pathogen. And it's not trying to spoon feed you. It's not trying to make women into Mary Sues, because the people who are liberal left extreme think women are retarded in some way and victims and need some help. And that's just their narrative to grab power and control everything and feel good about themselves. And these people want to feel like they're morally superior and have something good in their life because they've got it all anyways in their fucking ivory towers. It was just fucking beautiful. Absolutely excellent. So that was, yeah, as I said, that was my favourite part of the movie. So out of 10, I give the movie a 7. It's a solid 7. It's not mind-blowing, but it was good entertainment, and there's a few levels and layers to it, and the kind of anti-liberal parody was just refreshing, especially coming from Hollywood. I can't believe it made it into the movie. I really want to see a cable standalone movie. I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry about the microphone hiss again. And sorry it wasn't streamed live, but fuck live streaming. I'll leave that to the nerds. I'm Johnny Massacre, rapper, music producer and DJ living in Tokyo, Japan. If you enjoyed this movie review, please like and subscribe for obvious reasons. You'll also get to hear some of my music, see some of my live performances, see me review some video games, and just see my life, man. So stay in touch, yeah? See you on the next one, mate. Bye.